This is gonna be a quick video about the house system. Yes, the house system, right? You ever heard in the Bible where it says the house of Israel? The question is raised hundreds of times each year throughout the church. Are church members literally descendants of Israel, as most patriarchal blessing states, or are we Gentiles and belong to the house of Israel only by adoption? The answer is important, for the literal seed of Abraham are the natural heirs to the remarkable promises given anciently to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So, most members of the church understand the principles of heirship and adoption, but they often misunderstood the meaning of some of the terms in the scripture. The terms like literal descendants of Abraham by birth, tribe of Israel, house of Israel, lineage, Gentile, sometimes confused with sometimes confusion. That's all this is, a confusion. But it does mean things. Different ideas, different contexts. Let's review the terms. Who is literally descendant of Abraham by birth? In the scriptures, a literal descendant of Abraham is often referred to by the Hebrew word derived from the same root, Eber. I don't want to hear all this foolishness. Hebrews refer to direct literal descendants of Abraham. Tribe of Israel, the house of Israel, okay. Isaac, the son of Abraham, and Sarah had a son called Jacob, whose name was subsequently changed to Israel. Jacob had 4 wives, by whom he had 12 sons from Leah: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, all this. The descendants of these 12 sons have been divided into separate families, tribes. Collectively, the descendants of these tribes are named of the house of Israel and are called the Israelites. Obviously, all Israelites, right? So that's what that means, right? Those people who are of these lines. The house system. The house system traditionally features of schools in England. The practice has since spread to Commonwealth countries and the United States. The school is divided into subunits called houses, and each student is allocated to one house at the moment of enrollment. Houses may compete with one another at sports and may be in other ways, thus providing a focus on group loyalty. Different schools had different numbers of houses with different numbers of students per house, depending on the total number of students attending the school. Facilities such as pastoral care may be provided by the house based on house basis to a greater or lesser extent, depending on the type of school. Historically, the house system was associated with established public schools in English, established boarding schools, where the house referred to boarding houses at the school. In modern times, in both day and boarding schools, the word house may refer to grouping of pupils rather than to a particular building. Well, houses may be named after saints, famous historical alumni, or notable regional topics. International schools of houses are sometimes named in honor of local celebrities. What? Other more arbitrary names, animal houses, or colors may be colors, for example, are also often used. Houses are also often referred to by original names of buildings or by names of initials of teachers in charge of the house, house mistress, or house master. Each house will usually also be identified by its own symbol, logo, or colors. Um, um, Competition between houses. Look at this. A secondary feature of house systems is the competition between houses. For example, the traditional school sports day, sports day is usually an inter-house competition. Debating debating competitions, and charity drives are also organized along inter-house lines. Merit points, behavior, and academic achievements may also be totaled up for comparison between houses. So this is British stuff, English stuff. Um, pupils are usually assigned. Pupils are usually assigned to houses randomly, perhaps with the aim of balancing the houses in order to increase competition. Here we go, this competition shit. Other uses, the term houses, residential colleges. Yeah, so prominence in school stories. Yeah. So the house of Israel means something different to the British. The British might consider themselves of the house of Israel some kind of way, right? All this house system, this stuff is from England. Commonwealth countries, house of this and house of that. Descendants of royal, I guess you can say they descendants of royalty or some kind of way, right? That's all I wanted to say.